social media. This is an awakening. Snap out of it!
The light dome.
Yes, indeed. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Hotep, peace and blessings be with you. The brother, question, aka Abdul Adu, coming at you live. Full journey of life, conscious social media. This way we have some work to do. Go with me because I'm still getting, I guess, it's my new rearrangement, a new setup. Things are kind of somewhat different than what I'm used to. But still with the crackling. Are you still hearing the crackling sound? Are you still hearing the crackling sound? One, two, check. All right, there we go. Looks like I can hear myself now. Any crackling sound? Let me know if it sounds clear. Let me know if it sounds clear before we carry on. And I hope you can see, excuse me, still dealing with some congestion here. I hope you can see the screen there. The definition of the day, or the word of the day, self-determination, the right of self-determination. Self-determination, these are the words of the day. but I want to make sure I can be heard. So let me know if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat. Those watching, put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Because I can hear myself, so let's work with that. So here, just typing up the word in the Google, it starts off by saying, presenting a statement or some words associated with the United Nations Committee on the elimination of racial discrimination has stated that the right of self-determination involves the rights of all peoples to pursue freely their economic, social, and cultural development without outside interference, and that governments are to represent the whole population without distinction. I hope you're hearing those words, because everything that we need to build upon is based upon an understood context that even is recognized by the United Nations. Let me read that one more time. The United Nations Committee, or the UN Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, has stated that the right to self-determination involves the rights of all people to pursue freely their economic, social, and cultural development without interference, and that governments are to represent the whole population without distinction. So this word has a legal use. You understand? It's a legal term. And if you know, the United Nations, one of its permanent seat holders is the United States. The very United States that is supposed to be a champion of democracy. These days, the United States or America is making it very clear that is no longer Mr. Nice Guy, if it ever was, that it no longer has the interests of the people, if it ever did. Worldwide, people are recognizing the true colors of America, or perhaps I should say, disregard for the rights of self-determination among so-called people of color, so-called Black people, so-called Black leadership, African rulers, standing on the values of sovereignty, not asking permission of foreign countries to do things. This is an act of self-determination. To do things that are in the interest of the people which you have authority over, this is an act of self-determination. Such an act that the country known as Burkina Faso has been adamantly implementing in its country through the leadership of President Ibrahim Traore. The West and America have a problem. Being former colonizers and nations built on the backs of tyrannical slavery have been so used to being authorities, or even forced upon corrupt step-parents of Black people globally, that the very idea of Blacks shaking off and cutting ties from them, standing upon their own 2 feet, upon self-determination, is too much
for the West and America to bear, especially as their global power and global influence is seen today as rapidly diminishing. This pushes the West and its champion, America, to move towards various acts of desperation in the form of increased deception, unalivings of leadership and important figures in the community, or incarcerating them, and furthering their divide and conquer tactics, increasing thirst for material resources needed to sustain a corrupt empire, and more importantly, in this discussion, they have attachment issues, not wanting to see what they perceive as belonging to them, their Black people, their African countries. They don't want to see them break free and stand up autonomously. They don't want to lose us. How sweet. Only in reality, it's not sweet at all. There's nothing sweet about it. It is nothing more than savage behavior to see another human being, for one human being to see another human being as your own property, to be controlled, to be used to your own aims. But this has been the way of the West. This has been the way of America, feeling that they have put it upon themselves to be the authority over the world, and more importantly, more specifically, over Africa and those that are of the diaspora. So today's presentation, as you can see, global solidarity rises. The unyielding support for Ibrahim Traore, hands off, no permission needed. In other words, the people that are stepping up for this cause, they're not pleading or begging the West to leave Ibrahim Traore alone, to leave Burkina Faso and its people alone, and allow them to exercise their rights of self-determination. We're not asking, we're not begging. Who are you for us to beg to? Who are you that we need to ask this from? No, they are insisting. They are demanding their human rights. When a person stands up and looks to the right and looks to the left, they're not asking anybody to do that. They have the right as a human being to stand up on their own 2 feet. We just read the citation or the wording as recognized by the United Nations Committee regarding self-determination. One of the words that stood out to me is, and I'll read it again to quote it, governments are to represent the whole population without distinction. Before that, that's the word, it says, the rights of all people to pursue freely their economic, social, and cultural development without outside interference. That America sees the need to be involved with the activities of Burkina Faso and its leadership would be a violation of that act or that right of self-determination based upon what we have just read. So today and these days that have passed, we've been seeing an increase in people standing up in the defense of President of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, right? Check this out right here.
And if we need to say it loud and clear here, we are not in a democracy. We are indeed in a progressive popular revolution. Everyone needs to understand that. And it's even more surprising that those who are supposed to be the intellectuals who went to school can imagine that a country can develop within democracy. That's false. When you cite a single country that developed in democracy, it's not possible. Democracy is only the culmination we inevitably go through a revolution, and we are indeed in a revolution. Those who hadn't understood it.
So, if you can remember that even United States of America began its, beginning stages through revolution. It did not begin as a democracy. The concept of a democracy came later after the country was established. And even while it was establishing itself as a democracy, even at that time, it was not a sincere democracy, because in that time, it was building its infrastructure on the backs of its enslaved citizens, or its enslaved peoples that were not there willingly and were not paid to do the work and were not asked if they desired to do this work. And to this very day, no form of compensation or reparations has been presented to the offspring of those who built the infrastructure of the United States. This is your champion of democracy we're talking about. And so in this light, or this darkness, Burkina Faso, its people insisted that they had enough of the powers that be that were governing them at the time. And so they decided to rise up. I want to show this clip on who is Ibrahim Traore anyway. Who is Ibrahim Traore? Let's take a look at something here so that we can kind of be reminded of what occurred some years ago that led to the now leadership of Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso. Okay, there we go.
Beginning to see a replica or a replication of the late Thomas Sankara in him. Because at that age, Sankara was just within that age bracket, even while he was president in Burkina Faso, that same country.
Obviously, he has something within him that has propelled him at such a young age to the pinnacle of a political power in Burkina Faso. And that would mean that he has a drive. Obviously, he has an ambition.
Ibrahim Traore. He is Africa's youngest head of state at 35 years of age. Ibrahim Traore became the transitional president of Burkina Faso following a military coup in 2022.
Of course, Ibrahim Traore had to step in, and he was very decisive in taking over power. In September, he's going to be 1 year in office. And he has promised that in June 2024, he's going to relinquish power to a democratically elected government.
That gives you an idea, first of all, yes, that there's some bit of maybe ambition there. But are these personal ambitions, or are they ambitions on behalf of Burkina Faso? We can only know with time.
Traore and a group of other soldiers ousted his ex-comrade and interim president, Paul-Henri Damiba, who had appointed him the head of an artillery regiment in the city of Kaya. Damiba himself led a coup against a civilian government of Roch-Marc Christian Gabore 8 months earlier. Both coups were hinged on government failure to tackle armed insurgencies in the country.
The issue of coup can be very, very delicate, and people don't understand how dangerous coups can be, especially when you are trying to oust a military government and you are part of that military establishment. The death penalty in most cases is death by firing squad. People say he worked closely with Damiba, his former head of state, and so people could look at it and say, well, that's an act of betrayal.
Traore was born in the town of Bunduku in western Burkina Faso. He studied geology at the University of Ouagadougou before joining the army in 2010. He graduated as an officer from the Georges Namonau Military School. In 2020, he was elevated to the rank of a captain in the army. This was after he took part in the 2018 UN peacekeeping mission in neighboring Mali. He also fought on the front lines against militants in the northern part of the country he now leads.
I think he has an interesting personality for anybody that would hit the limelight. The way he has, is not just any ordinary person.
Burkina Faso has witnessed political instability and armed insurgencies for years, contributing to the insecurity across the Sahel since 2015. The French army operated in the country since 2018 in attempts to tackle armed groups behind the violence. But in February 2023, the French troops were forced to end operations in Burkina Faso on claims that their military presence had not improved the security situation in the country. Traore's takeover in 2022 came during a time when Russia's influence in French-speaking African countries seemed to be growing. He is among junta leaders in West Africa with strong anti-French sentiments.
Le Burkina Faso est fatigué avec le cas de la France. Alors, le Burkina Faso veut rompre toute relation qui existe entre ce pays et la France.
Traore has made it clear that Russia would become Burkina Faso's choice as a new partner in the fight against militant groups.
They've accused France many times. This is the general belief that the French, needed to have some crisis in those areas so that they can deploy their troops. And this was what gave rise to the G5 Sahel, and they were all, French countries. You had Chad, you had Niger, you had Burkina Faso, you had Mali, making up the G5.
Just like President Traore, leaders of Mali, Guinea, and most recently Niger have all come to power through military coups.
Some of these countries, these military, juntas will remain in power. But will they be able to do those things that they complained about that led to their taking over, political power in their countries? I don't know, but they have to try to learn to walk the talk so that they can put certain structures on ground that even eventually by the time they leave, the people of those countries can say, well, the military was here, but it was not so bad, even though they eventually left.
And now the military rulers in the Sahel are teaming up. Mali and Burkina Faso are strongly supporting the new junta leadership in Niger with their solidarity delegation visiting the country.
And you could call them military adventurers because we now have we have no definite knowledge, about what exactly is motivating them. They could be motivated by selfish interests. They could be motivated by genuine patriotic national interest to protect their patrimony, their common patrimony. They could be motivated by the fact that the political class have failed their people over time, consistently, time and time again. So it is a matter of survival. And that's why they have come together really, to have an alliance that an attack on one is an attack, on the other.
President Traore says his goal going forward is to bring about change in his country. He recently asked Russia for more support to address security and economic issues in Burkina Faso.
I think that if they are to abide by their promises, yes, there is hope that these guys are able to change the situations in their country.
With a wave of military takeovers sweeping through former French colonies in West Africa, the new young leaders like Traore believe they have what it takes to move their countries forward, even though they were not democratically elected. But with a fluid economic and security situation, the future remains uncertain.
hopefully that will give you a little bit more of an understanding of, in a short bit, of how we got to where we are now. What led to the matter now. And the thing that should be emphasized is that prior to Ibrahim Traore's leadership, the country was not satisfied. That is, the people. The people were not satisfied with how the government was running. They were not satisfied that most of their resources, their natural resources, were going to France and coming, back to them at higher rates. And often they did not benefit well. For example, imagine having all the resources you need to produce power, but yet, as you look around, the cities are without power. You have all the resources for power making, but you have no power. Yet the countries that your resources are going to have power everywhere you look. That didn't make sense to ones like Ibrahim Traore or the people of Burkina Faso. So when he rose to authority, they welcomed him with open arms. They didn't welcome him with despite or some type of fear, or they welcomed him with open arms. They were cheering for him. You understand? You will be able to look, if you even Google a little bit, and see the quality of support that is going on for President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. One of the things that has happened as a result of his performance, you understand, his leadership, is that it has exposed and brought to light other leaders in Africa who are likely to be seen as corrupt leaders. You understand, and it's showing the difference between his implementation of leadership and the implementation of leadership in other African countries. So much so that even the citizens that are living there are desiring a leadership of the quality and standards that Ibrahim Traore is implementing. I was looking at a clip here showing the president of Kenya arriving at excuse me, at a European country, and I was looking at the reception. Let me share this with you. I was looking at their reception. There it is. Imagine you're a president of a very, significant country of Africa. Kenya is nothing to sleep over, you understand? But imagine you're the president of Kenya and you show up in a European country and folks walk past you like they don't even know who you are. They don't recognize who you are. You don't stand out to them as someone that they should be speaking to, letting you know how they feel. This is kind of what happened here with the president of Kenya. As they say right there, nobody even recognized them. Now let's compare that to President Ibrahim Traore's electrifying reception in Ghana.
Reaction Captain Ibrahim Traore received in Ghana during the inauguration. A lot of African leaders were in attendance, but when it was time for Captain Ibrahim Traore to walk the stage, everyone cheered. The Gen Zs specifically were in awe, and you can tell by their reaction, by the way they were filming him and interacting with him, to the point where Ghana's new president, John Mahama, noticed and said this to Ibrahim Traore.
He got the biggest applause. Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. Yes.
As you saw, he was the fan favorite, and even at
Okay. So we can see a clear difference regarding how people are responding to President Ibrahim Traore, right? Let's take a look at this clip right here, showing you some of the support from people in different areas of the world. In this case, it's in the streets of Italy, of all places, right? So even the community in Italy has a significant number of people who are showing support for Captain or President Ibrahim Traore. Mm-hmm. They were overwhelmed, overjoyed to take that photo opportunity right there and represent. And that's just one of many pictures, one of many things that you can come across showing the amount of support that is going on. Let's go over here and show, excuse me, got some congestion going on. Trying to get over that. Let's take a look at this.
African News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice of the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
There we go. Right about here.
Today.
Welcome to Africa Diaspora News Channel. My name is Liniet Akotunu. Guess what? Africa has risen. I wouldn't say Africa uprising. Why? Because African youth are taking it by force. There is a plan for a protest on the 30th of April 2025 in favor of Captain Ibrahim Traore. Finally, after years of the West having their way and going scot-free, we are saying we are tired and we want them to get their hands off our Captain Ibrahim Traore. Let's watch this video.
This isn't something people would do if he was a tyrant or some kind of a bad person. This is something that happens when you see a champion, when you see someone that's respected.
Now, in the past, how did these guys get their hands on some of our leaders? What they did was to spread propaganda, spread wrong narrative and information concerning our leaders.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. What she's talking about there is what we talked about the other day, where the people such as Thomas Sankara and Muammar Gaddafi and the likes of them, in order for them to apprehend them and unalive them, they had to spread false propaganda. They had to spread lies. And they did that before it was able to gain such an uprising or such motivation as what you see right now. You understand? Many people didn't know about Thomas Sankara, and there is a significant number of people who didn't know about what Muammar Gaddafi was doing by the time the misinformation campaigns had already been, spreading like wildfire. It's not the same in the case of Ibrahim Traore, where enough has been known about him and observed about him that has beaten the any kind of misinformation campaign. So too many people all around know too much to be able to be deceived, if you would, by misinformation campaigns. So that means they have to work overtime to make anything stick. So worldwide solidarity, right? And firm support of Ibrahim Traore's leadership in Burkina Faso, coupled with the emphasis of respecting national sovereignty and the voice of the people, are critically important for several foundational reasons that directly impact the success and empowerment of Africa and the global diaspora. What I'm saying here is what happens here in Burkina Faso, what happens there would definitely be an impact all across Africa and all across the diaspora. Wherever we are, this is critical to pay attention to how this plays out, right? It's also critical to be a part, to be on the side of the support, to be on the side of the cause and not to the contrary. Upholding sovereignty and self-determination, the respect for national sovereignty is a cornerstone of international law and a principle that guards against external domination. Nobody's asking for something that they shouldn't be asking for. Nobody's pushing for something or fighting for something they have no business. This is a human right. This is a human right. What Burkina Faso is implementing is a human right. So what country would have any nerve to find something wrong with this? Look at the people. Look at the people globally. You understand? The fact that there's someone challenging this should tell you something about the nature of the entity or the nature of the governments or nations that are opposed to Ibrahim Traore's leadership in Burkina Faso. It tells you something about what kind of people these are. I would again encourage you to take a look at some of the videos of this scholar by the name of Shahid Bolzan. I think the channel that you'll find most of his videos on, I think is Middle Nation. So when you get a chance, type in your YouTube browser, Middle Nation, and you'll be in an abundance of videos from Shahid Bolzan. He's got a lot of insightful commentary on matters such as this that'll really kind of open your mind to a perspective that you might not have been prepared for, but you'll find very useful. So I'll put that there. In Africa, where many countries are still grappling with the shadows of colonialism and continuous external manipulation for resources, you name it, strong autonomous leadership like that offered by Traore exemplifies the struggle for self-determination and independence. In other words, other African countries observing what Burkina Faso was doing, they're seeing a clear blueprint of how to get this done, how to do it, and how to be successful with it, how not to be a continued slave to the colonial powers. Why you don't have to be afraid? Because some of these, they're either afraid of what might happen to them. What are we going to do? Or their pockets are getting fattened so much that they don't want to lose that lucrative source of income. So they would rather stay in power and watch their people suffer than do what will be the interest of their people and, you know, come down a little bit when it comes to the funding. You understand? This matters profoundly as it allows African nations to define their own destiny. That should be a given. That shouldn't even be something that's a no-brainer, that Africans want to be in control of their own destiny. That only but makes sense. I mean, if you go to China, you see it ruled by the Chinese people. You don't see Chinese or China being ruled by Brazil or being ruled by Canada. No, if you go to China, China is ruling China. If you go to Russia, Russia is ruling Russia. You understand? If you go to Great Britain, Britain is ruling Britain. You understand? On and it goes. So it only makes sense that Africa is ruling its own country, managing and controlling its own resources. Who are you to tell Africa how to manage how to distribute, how to control its resources in its own ground, under its own feet. Who are you? Again, that's that colonial slave master mentality that they refuse to abandon. As it allows African nations to define their own destiny, prioritize their development agendas, and harness the resources for the benefit of their population without external pressures or influences. Enhancing stability and development. Supporting leaders who are committed to the welfare and progress of their nations can lead to a more stable and sustainable development. If all African citizens, wherever they may be, from South Africa to Kenya to even Morocco, wherever you are, if those citizens were to support and stand behind Ibrahim Traore, you understand, they would be doing it to their own benefit as well. That would affect everybody in the continent. Believe it or not, it's not just this movement, this cause is bigger than Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is the thumbnail sketch of which should be manifested across the entire continent. So that you would stand up in defense of your brother, Ibrahim Traore, would be in your own better interest. Stability arises not just from political soundness, but also from economic and social cohesion, which leaders like Traore promote. He wasn't just a person talking about it, you understand? He isn't someone that's just on a mic, you know, with a good gift of gab, you know, like some politicians, a clever voice, smooth rhetoric. But you saw him from day one. As soon as he took the reins of power, the reins of authority, he went straight to action. And he even went straight to action on his own budget, his own paycheck. Go ahead and bring that down to the paycheck of a captain, he said. I'm a captain. I'm a military man. I'm not a politician. So this stability, in turn, attracts investment, enhances growth, and fosters an environment where education, health, and general living conditions can improve, benefiting the broader African and diaspora communities by setting a precedent for success and self-sufficiency. He established hospitals, you understand, things that were seriously needed in Burkina Faso at the time, things that the prior government cared nothing about. They cared about fattening their wallets, you understand, and being cool, and as they chilled out in jacuzzis in France. That's what they cared about. They didn't care that their own people were on the street side, rolling in dust, just trying to survive, trying to find a bite to eat and make sense out of life, holding on to their values. When Captain, now President Ibrahim Traore came in, he went straight to business and knew exactly what he needed to do, the people he needed to talk to, and even did it in a respectful way amongst the elders of Burkina Faso. Every step of the way, he made sure to check all the boxes of courtesy, of respect, of recognizing the need of the people. So, empowering voices in global platforms. As we saw the youth holding up the flag representing their support for Burkina Faso. And that's just one example. You can look again and again and again and find numerous examples across YouTube, across social media. Think about that, where people are making it plain that they adamantly support the cause of Burkina Faso. And the people in Burkina Faso support the cause of their leadership. You don't find the majority of the people in Burkina Faso disturbed by their leadership. And that's notwithstanding the numerous assassination attempts that happened at the life of Captain Ibrahim Traore. 20 attempts. Imagine that, 20 attempts at your life. And the citizens knowing that. Any other place that might shake up the citizens, make them kind of startled or afraid, but no, they remain steadfast and supportive of their leader. And not only that, but their leader remained courageous and continued on business as usual. There's work to be done. So by rallying behind leaders like Traore, the global community, especially the diaspora, can advocate for more equitable international policies that reflect the interests of aspirations of all African American people, or of African people. I'm saying to you that fighting this fight and seeing it through to its victory is to the benefit of all, because you can say that is how it's done. That's what we're fighting for. That's what we ourselves desire wherever we may be. We desire that kind of self-determination. If that's what you desire, then when you see it manifesting, you fight, you stand up, you speak out, you get out there and communicate what you have to communicate and be amongst those unified for the purpose, for the cause. Understand that when such a power or such an authority is established, one of the benefits is peace. The people in Burkina Faso, even if they were at levels of poverty, are at least able to be comforted knowing that even their government is at the same level with them, understanding their plight just as they are. As for example, it's like to say the government's not up here and they're down here wallowing in their own poverty. But in the case of Burkina Faso, even the leadership was saying, let me come down and meet you at your level. You understand? Let me understand the suffering with you and bring us all up. We've got gold in our own land that everybody should be able to benefit from. We've got mineral resources in our own land that everybody should be able to benefit from. We've got an agricultural a section in our economy that everybody should be benefiting from. It makes no sense that we Burkinabes, citizens of Burkina Faso, are sitting here suffering in poverty as if we had nothing, as if we were actually poor. Ibrahim Traore's understanding, there was no reason that Burkina Faso had any business being poor. Looking around the land, looking abroad the land, how is it that we are poor? How is it that where all these resources are going to, these countries are living lavish, living in the lap of luxury, but here we are, where the resources are originating from, and we're poor, with no lights, with no electricity, with no medical services, with no free education system. Look at the roads, broken, dirt. How is it possible that we have all these rich resources? We're standing on the wealth of the world, but we're the poorest, one of the poorest countries in Africa. How does that work out? Ibrahim Traore was not satisfied and was not going to settle with that. So, again, by rallying behind leaders such as Traore, the global community, especially the diaspora, can advocate for a more equitable international policies that reflect the interests and aspirations of African people. This facilitates a more balanced global narrative where Africa's potential and perspectives are recognized and respected, moving away from stereotypes and assumptions of dependencies. See, in the age of social media communication, where the censorship is at a minimum, it makes it hard for these tyrannical rulers to persuade you, you understand, unless they come with flashy colors or flashy things that attract your lower desires, or deceive you, or trick you, or manipulate you. It becomes harder when we're able to talk and communicate directly with one another and get the information out there right away, ASAP. Beating them to the chase. This was something that was not happening in this way with previous leaders who stood up for the same cause and ended up losing their lives as a result. So this is an advantage that we would be wise to grab the reins of tightly and use it to the best and the fullest of our ability. So let's take a look, because yes, indeed, this is a historical movement. This is a movement that's actually outshining many other things in the world. When you think about what's going on in the world, so many tragic things happening. You understand? There are people fighting to restore the integrity of their nations, the borders of their nations. There's countries that are fighting, to maintain agreements and things that was meant to keep their own countries intact. You've got countries that are fighting to maintain their economic edge, to the jealousy of people who don't like that. How dare you rise economically superior to us, says the West to China. How is it that you can do this? We've got to do something about that. You can't be rising economically superior to us and we could just sit by the side road and let that happen. They're saying, when we're supposed to be the global champion of democracy and all these other illusionary concepts that they push forth, that they don't implement themselves. So you have this going on, and I can't fail to mention the mass genocide that has been taking place these past years, the mass crimes against humanity, backed by the very so-called champions of democracy. So this is what's been going on. And then out of all this, a light shines in the form of Burkina Faso's leadership. That's probably the best or the most righteous thing that happened during these past years that you can find. If you were to Google events going on this year, you will find what talks about robots, newly developed robots or whatnot, getting ready to be released into the marketplace of the world. But you'll find a champion standing proud in Africa by the name of Ibrahim Traore, a man who wasn't thirsty for your pocketbook, for your money, who wasn't thirsty for popularity, who wasn't thirsty for, the greeds that many corrupt politicians and leaders get thirsty for, but simply wanted to get the job done on behalf of and in the name of his people. Let's take a look at something here. Historic movement.
Like massively to show the support for Ibrahim Traore. Share to everyone you think needs to hear. Let's go in. Let's dip in the video.
Many of us were told, don't go to Burkina.
Greetings to all leaders of the African soil, the custodian of our heritage. We, the Land and Minerals Movement, NBC of South Africa, rise today with a unified voice to express our unwavering solidarity with a revolutionary son of Africa, President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching me from. Welcome back to my YouTube space. Black people, all of us, we have a task here that we need to do. And we have only one task, and it is supporting Ibrahim Traore, is praying for Ibrahim Traore. It is joining hands for Ibrahim Traore, the leader of Burkina Faso. I have a lot of people who have come to my inbox requesting me to have a prayer live for Ibrahim Traore. And I said yes, so I'm planning for it. Because when I started this channel, I am a Pan-African. And when I started this channel, I was talking about Traore and the things he has done and why we need to support him. And right now, it is that time that we need to support him because his life is in danger. And this danger is brought by the one you know. Now, a lot of groups have started gathering to support Ibrahim Traore, Black Americans, Jamaicans, Africans, South Africans. I'm happy to see South Africans, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Kenyans, they are supporting Ibrahim Traore. And there's reasons why we are supporting Ibrahim Traore. So if you are not getting enough evidence to support Ibrahim Traore, if you are still behind saying that he is a cool leader and you are not supporting cool leadership, I will break it down to you why we are Ibrahim Traore. But before that, let's watch these clips. And then we come back here. I want to take you step by step why we are supporting Ibrahim Traore. Let's watch these videos and then we'll come back.
Many of us were told, Don't go to Burkina Faso. It's a war-torn country. Guns all over the street. Mr. President, we want you to know that the more they told us not to go to Burkina Faso, the more we ran to Burkina Faso. Being here in the country of the upright man is a dream come true. To President Traore, the reincarnation of Thomas Sankara President Traore, who has led the struggle to complete the unfinished business that was started by our ancestors and our Pan-African leaders in 1963 when they created the Organization of African Unity. During that meeting, they demanded the creation of an Africa that spoke with one voice, an Africa that was united. That journey is yet to be finished. What is happening in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, is just the beginning of a revolution that is way past due for Africa. Africa must unite, and Burkina Faso has shown us the way. They have opened the doors. They have shown us that the bully can be defeated. That no more shall we continue to give up our lunch. That we too need to eat. And therefore, there is no negotiating with the bully. The bully had to go, and Burkina Faso showed us how to do it. So, Mr. President, I bring you your children, descendants of the formerly enslaved. They have waited over 400 years to return the spirits of their ancestors back home to Africa. When the children of Africa were taken out of Africa as slaves, all they ever wanted to do was to come back home to Africa. Each and every one of them that you see, many of them are coming to Africa for the first time. They're bringing with them the spirits of their ancestors to put them to rest here in Burkina Faso. And that's mission number one. Mission number two, we have watched you, Mr. President. You stand for everything that we have hoped for in an African man. Courageous, fearless, and in their faces. France, unapologetically, you told France, pack your bags and go home. You, Mr. President, and the people of Burkina Faso have done it, and we have a responsibility to support you. You have over 300 million African diaspora who are looking up to you. We are here to show you that we are with you. We support you. We are behind you, and we will not let you down. Many of us were told, don't go to Burkina Faso. It's a war-torn country. Guns all over the street. Mr. President, we want you to know that the more they told us not to go to Burkina Faso, the more we ran to Burkina Faso. No one tells them not to go to Europe, to their countries of origin. Therefore, no one will tell us not to come home to Burkina Faso. So mission number 2 is to let you, Mr. President, know that you and the citizens of Burkina Faso have done all the heavy lifting. The least we can do is to support you. So we are here. Our third mission is to see what can we do, Mr. President, to play our part in building the Burkina Faso we want.
Greetings to all leaders of the African soil, the custodians of our heritage. We, the Land and Minerals Movement, NBC of South Africa, rise today with a unified voice to express our unwavering solidarity with a revolutionary son of Africa, President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. At a time when the continent stands at a crossroad, facing the dual threats of external exploitation and internal division, President Traore has emerged as a beacon of hope. He has reminded us what true African leadership looks like: bold, uncompromising, and deeply rooted in the interests of the people. We stand with him. We stand for his vision. We stand for Africa. President Traore has taken a historic stance, not just for Burkina Faso, but for the entire continent. He has declared that Burkina Faso's minerals will no longer serve as a lifeline for foreign profiteers, but would become a source of dignity, wealth, and transformation for the people of his country. This is not merely a national declaration. This is the beginning of a continental revolution. Africa is not poor. Africa is splendid. And among its most splendid resources are its minerals: gold, diamonds, rare earths, coltan, copper, uranium, all flowing out of our soil, enriching others, while our communities remain trapped in poverty. President Traore is saying no more. We, as Land and Minerals Movement, NBC, echo that cry: no more. No more shall our minerals be extracted with no benefit to the rightful custodians of the land. No more shall foreign interests dictate the terms of African prosperity. No more shall our wealth be stolen in broad daylight under the banners of contracts signed in secrecy and corruption. We call upon all African leaders to follow this example, to reclaim their land, their minerals, and their sovereignty. President Traore's call for one Africa is not only timely, it is urgent. A divided Africa is a conquered Africa, but a united Africa built on mutual respect, shared vision, and joint control over its resources is unstoppable. Let it be known today and for generations to come that Land and Minerals Movement, NBC, stands firm with Burkina Faso, with its youth, with its future, and with its minerals. We support policies that prioritize local beneficiation, community ownership, and strategic control of mineral wealth. We are committed to ensuring that the minerals beneath our feet empower our people, not enslave them. President Traore, we salute you. We salute your courage. We stand with you, shoulder to shoulder. Your struggle is our struggle. Your fight is our fight. And together, as Africans, we shall rise, rich not only in minerals, but in justice, in unity, and in liberation. Vive Africa! Vive President Traore! Vive mineral sovereignty! Amanda!
Yes, indeed. I would recommend that you all play that back, especially with what the elder sister was breaking down to you. A lot of solid communication right there, on point. All of that right there, you should consider that like the bullet points. You understand? Bullet points. If you're confused with how to play your part, how to implement, your support and whatnot, play this back. Now, let me go over here. Close some of these windows. Yeah, definitely play that back. So, what's the issue, someone might ask, if they haven't been paying attention to the events going on these days, right? Well, some emotions were stirred up because a man in our own likeness spoke lies against the president of Burkina Faso. Not just any particular man who in our likeness, but a man of high-ranking stature, high-ranking position in the government of the United States, claiming that the president of Burkina Faso was doing something that he is interpreting as being illegal or criminal in some way. And as a result, the powers that be in the States pressed the desire to arrest President Ibrahim Traore. They want to arrest him. So you think about everything that we've just watched, all the support, all the love given. And even yesterday, we looked at some of the achievements that the president has accomplished. 20 were given, but we looked at a few of them, right? So all of this going to pass, all of this, these success stories and events, but somehow, some way, the powers that be in America find it criminal and want to arrest the person responsible for it. How does that work out? We've got our work cut out for us, family, when it comes to this, because this is not a fairy tale story. It's not an illusion that you can just, go to sleep and wake up and hope that it is gone the next day. But this is real time, real life. We hear the strong communication, the strong words coming from our elders, from our, from the sisters, from the brothers. We hear the strong words globally. You understand? But the thing that we need to make sure we grasp a hold of firmly is that this is real and it's happening in real time in our time, in our life, and it affects us for real. Says, stand down, general. Stand down, son. Touch not my anointed. Mother Africa speaking. One of the things that I would say that we have at our advantage, that our adversary does not, is that we are heavily spiritual people. You understand? Notice I said spiritual. That means we are, you know, it's like a regular, it's like intuitive. It's like we are intuitively connected to one another, to the Most High, to the reality, to spiritual realities. You understand? Call it as you would. But this gives us a kind of motivation that the enemy can only desire. They don't have that motivation. As one would put it, their motivation is materialistic. You understand? It's not divine. It's not spiritual. It's not sacred. You understand? For many of us, especially those that know, Africa is sacred. The cause of the melanated, the diaspora, the Black community globally is a sacred cause. We've been at this cause for a long time. You understand? Ever since enslavement, even before that. You understand? Ever since colonization, even before that, we've been at this fight and have never given up. There have been those who've tapped out, those who succumbed to the powers that be and accepted masters' wishes. But those in whose hearts is the spirit of our ancestors, the same ancestors who were fighting as they crossed the Atlantic, the same ancestors as they were fighting in the villages, fighting in the cities, not accepting, not submitting. Those same spirits passed down onto us who still stand and fight today. As I would put it, if we were in those times, we would be fighting. We would be, standing up just as we are now, because we have the same spirit. We're the same ones. We're the same spiritual energy. The enemy doesn't have that. They have to make up for it by their aggressiveness, by their tyrannical behavior, by their oppressions. You understand? They have to try to make up the lack of what they are missing with all of these other ways, imposing their will on the world against their will. So the international community, the international acknowledgement and protection of African sovereignty serves as a testimony to successful self-governance, challenging the narrative that emerging countries require external governance. This helps dismantle the long-standing prejudice and misconceptions about Africa's capability to manage its affairs. This man that you see the image of right here, that's what he was trying to express. He was trying to give the idea that we can't think, we as Africans can't think for ourselves, that we are not able to reason, we're not able to make intelligent choices for our better interest, that we need external help somehow. We need assistance somehow because we can't figure it out ourselves. We're easily tricked or easily manipulated in some way. That's what they are trying to push as the narrative here. That's what they're trying to say about the brothers and sisters of Burkina Faso, that, oh, well, Russia came in and manipulated everybody, not that they were sick and tired of the colonial masters taking advantage of them, taking advantage of their resources and manipulating them and deceiving them. They were tired of that. And when the opportunity came to kick that bully aside, to kick that tyrant aside, they took it and took it with haste. So for the diaspora, this instills a pride and a strong foundation for cultural and intellectual contributions to their respective communities around the world. By defending this, by supporting this, by standing up for it, we restore our relationship, first of all. We restore a long-standing relationship, an ancestral relationship with the people of Burkina Faso, letting them know, like, look, we see you, Ibrahim Traore, we see you, Burkinabes. We see what's going on there, and we're doing whatever it takes, whatever we have the ability to do, whatever we are empowered to do, to stand with you. Restoring our kindred spirit, restoring our ties. And in so doing, you restore networks, you restore connections, you restore communications, and you revive communications you may not even have been aware that you had in the first place. You revive a relationship that you may not have been aware that you had in the first place. Restoring your roots, so to speak. For the diaspora, this instills pride and a strong foundation for cultural and intellectual contributions to the respective communities around the world. I want to ask or ponder something here. One of the things that's happening out of this, let's go ahead and get this guy over here. I like how the comment part is, it says, stand down, General. Stand down, my son. The quote is not severing ties with this man, but like, look, you're hurting your own people, brother. You're hurting your own kind, your own kin. What are you doing? Don't you see what you're getting yourself into? Why would you want to have your own blood on your own hands? Why would you want to do that? What kind of benefit could the powers that be that have endowed you with your leader, your position of authority, what could they give you that's greater than the Lord of our people, the God of our people, the God of our nation, the God of our country, the God of our land, the God of Africa, the God of the diaspora? What could be greater than that? How could you live and die after betraying your own, not just your own brother, but the people the brother represents? How could you do that and be satisfied? How could you sleep at night on that? I don't see how this brother could sleep at night feeling confident that he's being about the right thing. How could you do that? Stand down, General. Stand down, my son. Touch not my anointed. Mother Africa speaking. Is this a litmus test? You know, a litmus test is kind of like putting something into the center of observation of people to see how they respond or how they react to it, who responds favorably towards it, who responds negatively about it. I think we are seeing something out of that, because out of this, in the people in whose hearts is a real desire for unity, for freedom, for real self-determination, they're speaking up. You understand? They're coming out of wherever they are and letting it be known. They see this in the leadership of Ibrahim Traore, and they don't want to lose that opportunity. They don't want that taken away from them. They refuse to have this moment taken away from them. They've been watching this brother for some time now, and you refuse, as it's gotten this far, free healthcare, free education, new roads, tomato plants, this plant, that plant, power plants, people satisfied from the inner city, the tribal areas, the village areas, unity all across the country of Burkina Faso, unity to its neighbors, Mali and Niger, influencing other countries from Ghana to Chad. People are watching this and saying, we don't want to lose this momentum while we have it. We see an opportunity breaking free from the grips of colonial masters, breaking free from the deceptions of the enslavers, breaking free from the corrupt, tyrannical rules of the West. We see an opportunity here, and we don't want to lose it. We see that standing up for Brother Ibrahim Traore represents standing up for that opportunity and not letting it come out of our grip. The litmus test. Then on the other side of those people who are showing what's truly in their hearts, their greed, their selfishness, their hatred for their own people, their hatred for their motherland, their desire to be amongst the enemies, basking in the riches and wealth that the enemies bestow upon them for a price, selling their souls to the devils. So which countries, oh Africa, are truly pushing for the better interest of Africa? Ibrahim Traore is representing a standard for which to judge the leadership of all other African countries. This becomes the standard. We see what it is to be an upright, just ruler of an African country. So what are you doing? What are you doing? We can go through all the countries of Africa. What are you doing, Mr. President, or Mrs. President in some cases? What are you doing? Are you matching up to Ibrahim Traore's standards? Are you doing better? Or are you doing horribly worse? He is also being used as a measuring stick, a weight scale, exposing those who are still enslaved mentally to the interests of Western colonial slave masters. Ibrahim Traore's cause is revealing who is who in the African world today. Let's take a look at these clips right here that I came across on the IG. See, the thing about truth is it's easy to speak when it's already in your heart. You know, sometimes it works like, well, you know, some people, they have to, you know, quote a book or go here or go there, which is no problem. But when it's already in your heart, the book that you're reading is your heart. And it makes it easy because if the truth is there, you don't have far to go. The reference is very near. It says, funny, isn't it? When an African leader stands tall and says no to Western control, suddenly he's a dictator. The minute Muammar Gaddafi said we're going to make an African currency, oh no, that's you can't do that, Muammar. We got to do something about this one right here. The minute Thomas Sankara started talking about independence and self-determination for Burkina Faso, no, because that means we will lose our resources. We will lose what we got going on there in those gold mines and whatnot. We can't do that. Do something to this man. This is how the devilry works in this situation. And they would justify it. They will make it seem like they were following protocol. They are following protocol, but not the protocol as you and I might understand it. The protocol of righteousness, the protocol that is built upon spiritual values. No, their protocol is built upon bestiality. Their protocol is built upon material desires, material agenda. You understand? Spirituality, soulfulness is not even in the equation. It's this is what we want. We will get it. However, we have to get it, even if it means you lose your life, even if it means we have to get you up out of the way. We want what's over there. We want what's in your ground. You don't believe me? Let's take a moment here and let me share this screen with you. We'll get back to that other screen. Remember Iraq. Remember the weapons of mass destruction. That was the charge against Iraq in order to invade it.
If you really want to know the truth about the state of Iraq's weapons of mass destruction before the invasion, listen to Colin Powell in February 2001. He states clearly that there was no threat from Saddam Hussein.
He has not developed any significant capability with respect to weapons of mass destruction. He is unable to project conventional power against his neighbors.
And this is Condoleezza Rice, Bush's national security advisor, in July of the same year, saying the same thing, putting the lie to their own propaganda.
We are able to keep arms from him. His military forces have not been rebuilt.
A reflection of the change. And that, many believe, was the truth, a truth that was covered up and conveniently forgotten after September the 11th, when Bush and Blair decided to attack Iraq.
And understand that all that, those speeches right there that you saw were before America decided to invade Iraq. So they knew, they spoke it in their, amongst their people, that there weren't any weapons of mass destruction, but they kept on propagating to you, to the world, that there were weapons of mass destruction. We got to go up in there. And as soon as the 9/11 thing happened, that gave them the fuel or the motivation that they needed to fulfill their agenda. So you know they're willing to lie to any extent. They're willing to go to any extent. They don't care about how you feel. They don't care about your values. They don't care about any principles or any moral standards that you might live by. They only care for what they want. Their end game, not your end game. So knowing that, it would be wise to stop playing by their rules. You're standing up for Ibrahim Traore, not because you're wanting them to permit you to, but because you insist that that's the only way this can go down. That's what you're saying. You're not asking foreign governments for permission for Burkina Faso to be a sovereign nation and be ruled by a person from amongst its own. You're not asking for that. Pardon me for the lighting here. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit. Oh, wow. We're not asking for that, family. What we're asking, we're not asking from them anything at all. That's the mindset you need to have. This isn't an act to impress them. You understand? This isn't some kind of political charade. You understand? Or a demonstration so that they, will be convinced, like, oh, look at them. We're convinced that they mean well. So because we see, the chants in the street, we see the protests and the marches, we'll leave them alone. No, they don't play that kind of game. Can't you see what's going on in the world? They're not playing that kind of game. You understand? You need to understand if you don't. So our method, our pattern needs to derive from amongst our own self, from amongst the think tanks that derive from our own self. The stratagems, the way to play our part and support this cause has to come from amongst our own people. It can't be based upon the rules and standards of the very adversary that wants to bring the drama. Arrest Ibrahim Traore. Obviously, they're not playing. They're not following the rules that they put down for everybody to apply and abide by, because they're breaking those very rules, while at the same time behaving as if they were abiding by them. Let's go back here to this, what I was sharing here. Pardon me about the lights, because that's something that happens here. The lights, the power, there's this as a common thing, power outages, blackouts. So yeah, we read that one. So history shows a pattern. If you obey, you are called a partner. If you resist, you're branded a tyrant. Imagine that. Look at, again, every time you hear these words, tyrant, when they call him a tyrant, or when they call him some type of strong man or something like that, look at the protest in the street. Look at the people shouting, championing, and standing up in its defense. Look at the effects. Look across the country of Burkina Faso and see the development going on, and then ask you, how does this word apply here? Who is the real tyrant in this story? Remember Thomas Sankara? He said, we must build Africa for Africans. Next thing you know, he is labeled dangerous. And next is Muammar Gaddafi, who dreamed of a united Africa, a single African currency backed by gold. The West, They called him a mad dictator and bombed his country into chaos and then killed him, of course, as you know. The current one is Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso's leader, who's charting a new path, rejecting Western influences, nationalizing resources, and promoting local industries. Yet, he is labeled a dictator by the West. Is it because he dares to prioritize his nation's own interests? That's what I think it was saying down there below. Yes, or sovereignty, nation sovereignty. Leaders in Europe and America can be strong. They're called patriots. But when leaders in Africa fight for their people, they're called threats. It's the same in America. A group of whites is a bunch of friends. A group of blacks, a group of thugs. Same thing. We're used to that. We've been dealing with this adversary for some time now. We're used to their way of words. So we should not be surprised. Instead, we should recognize the level of threat. We should recognize the proper way necessary to respond to it. It's not about democracy. It's about control over African lands, control over African minds. What do you think? Are these leaders really dictators or just brave enough to say no? And I'm curious to know what you say. So yeah, like it says, drop it in the commentary. Drop your thoughts in the commentary. Okay. Again, dear family, this is real. This is not fiction. Well, I have your attention. Let me share something with you. Because one thing that happens often when we're dealing with matters such as war and things of this nature is those who tend to be overlooked or forgotten by it. Let's see here. Let's cancel that one for a minute. So who am I talking about? And the thing is, we need to have just as much strength, just as much passion and desire that we have for standing up for our champions, those who stand up for justice. We need to have the same energy to stand up for the children who are at the bottom of this and end up suffering the most. I would encourage you to show your support, and the link will be in the commentary or description when this is done, to show your support to the project, the Light Dome Academy, right? And as you can see here, what I'm showing you is all the details or brief details of what's been going on and what progress we're trying to make and the kind of help and assistance and donations that we're looking for. You can go to the website that you see there. And again, as I said, I will also provide the links in the description. Your support is well appreciated. And I'm sure that all those that benefit from amongst the youth will appreciate it as well. That said, I want to continue on. I'm going to put into the chat a link here. And the link would be to invite those who have something to say about the matter. But I'm going to continue a question that I had from yesterday. I had another question, but I'm going to stick with the question I had from yesterday because it has yet to be responded to. The question being, as we unify, as our voices are becoming one, on one accord about this matter, what is the next thing? Where do we take it from here? Speaking in an intellectual way, not in some kind of random or reckless way, but I want to have an intellectual discourse about where this should go. You understand? And in what way do we stand up in the protection and in the defense of our brother, President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso? So I'm going to put the link there. But before I do that, let's go ahead and play this song. I'll be right back. I'm going to try to get some light going on here.
Necessary to consider wisely the use of every heartbeat. If you were me, if you could see what I see, if you were me, but you're not me, or so it seems till we see, the agony of forgetting true inspiration. I feel so heedlessness, especially knowing once I put my mind to do a thing, it's only by the will of the God to speak it into being. So many shades of faces, what to make of all the way we occupy the spaces. Once I had a dream, then that dream, a most peculiar scene. I held a dish with a citrus, sprouting out large green leaves. Here today, gone tomorrow, pain that nobody sees, woe that notices the sorrow. They say if I'm a righteous man, I'll receive a book in the right hand. There I go, drifting all beyond the night sky again. There I go, refusing to be blind again. There I go, going against the grain of lies again. In the heavens, that's a win. In this world, you pay the price. That I close my eyes to see, and what I see often no words to say. When I'm able to say what I see, I speak these words in such a way, painted into a picture like sacred scripture, carved in stones or baked clay. All I'm trying to do is make sense of what I observe throughout the day. How often have these words been passed down? I'm spinning around and around. I'm spinning around and around. If you were me, if you could see what I see, if you were me, but you're not me, or so it seems till we see. Snap out of it.
Okay, so I have returned. And if you look, you will see that there is a link in the chat. You could click that link and join in, and we can break bread. The excuse me. The ground rules are simple. We stay on topic as best as we can. We speak in a way that we would approve of our own children listening to. In other words, we'll clean talk. You understand? And we are respectful to each other, and we're respectful when we talk about other people, even if we are talking about people we disagree with. We always try to approach it in a respectable way. So those are the ground rules, and there's the link. While you're doing that, I'm going to bring us to the platform, souljourneyoflife.org, because I have something I want to do there. So come along with me. Okay, let's make that a little bigger. There we go. So let's go ahead. I'll sign in. Yes, this is our website. Be courteous and kind and sign up if you can. So we'll go ahead and sign in. This is one thing that I am encouraging, because, you know, from this we can literally establish our own community social media platform and maintain our narrative, you understand, of whatever it is that we value, of whatever it is that we consider important to us. That's the purpose of Soul Journey of Life. Okay, so I wanted to, let's see, my network's a little slow. Page is still loading. And let's see here. Take note of the link in the chat. So I wanted to go over here to the left side panel here. There's this tab called the Village Circle. I'm gonna click that tab. Let's go. Okay. So I'm in the Village Circle. I'm doing two things at one time. I want to pin the that link that I have right there so that it's in the tab. I mean, in the comment section. Give me a second here. Pin the message. There we go. Because I think what happens is when the comments scroll up, that link goes up with it, and new visitors might not see it. I'm not sure. So we're in the Village Circle. I want to click this tab right here, because what I want to do is, in the Village Circle, there are at least 30 or so AI villagers. And I want to ask some questions. So while I'm waiting for, you know, brothers and sisters to click the link to come up here and break bread, I'll break bread with the AI villagers of Soul Journey of Life. All right. Let's see here. So the question now is, who do I want to ask these questions to? See, it's still loading up. The page is still loading. It's very slow on this network, on this Wi-Fi network. Let me let it finish loading. I'm going to ask the village chief. I'm asking him a question. I'm going to ask the young sage, Li Wei. I'm going to go down here at the bottom. I'm going to talk to Dija, the activist. And one more. That's 4 villagers or 3 villagers. We're gonna talk. How about 2 more? 2 more. Nala, the oracle, and we'll just go right here. Let's go to the mathematician. All right. So if nobody comes aboard, I'm still gonna be able to ask my questions after all, right? To the AI villagers on Soul Journey of Life. So this is what we'll do. Let's go ahead. I gotta let these pages load up a bit. And in the commentary, you understand, if you have any questions or comments that we need to build on, be sure to put them in the comment section. Be sure to put them in the comment section. And I'm looking at some of the comments now. I see someone's watching from Philadelphia. Peace and blessings and salute. I appreciate the positive comments. Okay. I believe, just to make it a point, that we have to be adamant about what we say are our values. I believe this is a breakthrough moment in our time that we need to take advantage of and pay sharp attention to, so that we don't miss the bus, so to speak. And it's also an opportunity for us to really understand what unity is all about in real time. You understand? So I was waiting for these pages to load up. Going a little slower than I expected. Okay, 2 of them loaded up, right? Yeah, just drop some lines in the comment section. I want to know what you think about what the elder sister was saying. The powerful, words that she presented. And at this point, I want to know what your opinion is, what your honest opinion is about the progress that Brother President Ibrahim Traore has been making, as well as what you think about him as an individual. You understand? So that's kind of a package question there. Put that in the commentary. Okay, so we're going to go with the village chief first, right? Share that tab. So we're going to ask him, Let me think. Let me think. We are going to ask him. I'm gonna say it this way. So realistically, what? So here's my question. The question I put forth is realistically, what can the supporters of Ibrahim Traore, president of Burkina Faso, do to stand up and protect him from those who wish to cause him troubles or even take his life? That's the question. And this is going to Umoja, the village chief. All right, give it a minute because it's responding. And I might ask that question to all of the other ones too. Just keep it the same question, right? Maybe. Unless if anybody in the commentary has a question, put it in the commentary and I'll pass it on to the villagers. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And of course, show your support to the platform. All right, so we got a reply. Let's check out the reply. Umoja, the village chief, replies, "It is indeed a challenging situation when a leader faces threats to their safety and well-being. In moments like these, it is important for the supporters of President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso to come together in unity and take practical steps to protect him and ensure his safety. Here are some realistic measures that can be taken." Understand, this is the Sojourning of Life AI villagers talking right here. So the first step, number one, vigilance. Hope you guys can see this on your screen. Vigilance and awareness. Supporters should remain vigilant and aware of any potential threats or signs of danger to the president. Keeping a watchful eye and staying informed can help in preempting any harmful acts against him. That particular advice is especially important to the citizens of Burkina Faso. And the last I checked, many of the attempts already have been thwarted because of the interactions or the interventions or whatnot of the people. You understand? Because the people love their leaders so much, they're keeping an open eye, a watchful eye. You understand me? Number two, strengthen security measures. It is crucial to strengthen the security measures around the president, both in terms of physical security and information security. Implementing robust security protocols and ensuring secure communication channels can help mitigate risk. Number three, Mobilize support networks. Supporters can mobilize support networks within the community, political allies, and security forces to coordinate efforts in safeguarding the president. Building a strong support system can provide additional protection and assistance in times of need. Advocate for peace and unity. Promoting messages of peace, unity, and nonviolence can help in diffusing tensions and reducing the likelihood of aggression towards the president. Encouraging dialogue and understanding can foster a more harmonious environment. Number 5, seek international assistance. If the threat escalates and becomes unmanageable internally, seeking assistance from regional bodies, such as, for example, I would say Niger and Mali, in this case. Regional bodies, international organizations, and diplomatic allies may be necessary. International support can lend additional protection and advocacy on behalf of the president. It is essential for supporters of President Ibrahim Traore to act decisively and collaboratively in safeguarding his safety and well-being by taking proactive measures, staying vigilant, and seeking support from various channels. They can contribute to creating a safer environment for the president amidst challenging circumstances. If you have any further questions or need additional guidance, feel free to ask, my friend. So what do you say about that? What is your comments about that? That was a response from the Aha villager, Umoja, the village chief on Soul Journey of Life. So I want to take, I can take that question and ask another villager, or I can ask them a different question. Let me go to Dija, the activist. Let me think here. If you've got a question, type it in the commentary, and I will present it to the villager and see what their reply is. It doesn't just have to be only me asking questions. Also, just to remind you, there's a link in the chat. You can come up here and ask the questions yourself, and we can break bread. Let's see. Let's see. I'll do it this way. Wording. It's all about the wording. Okay, so I don't know if you're able to see the question that I put here. Oh, well, I haven't switched to that page yet. Okay, here's the question. So the question that I put regarding President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, how can strong supporters from Africa and the diaspora defend him against misinformation campaigns? And I'm going to put another part of that. Misinformation campaigns and other forms of misleading actions. Is that right? Is that how we want it? Is that how we want it? Thing about questions is you want the wording to be precise, so that way you can get a proper, response. The thing about the villagers of Sojourning for Life is each of them are designed with a unique, think of it like a unique personality of a sort. So the responses aren't all going to be the same. Like Umoja, the village chief, it has his own character, a village chief. And in this case, this is Dija, the traditional women's rights activist. So her response is going to be something different. So let's see what she has to say, how she answers this question. Give it a minute. Takes a little time for her to acknowledge and respond. I want questions. Give me questions, family. Give me questions to ask the villagers, and or click that link in the chat and come up here and ask your own questions or provide your own commentary regarding what's going on. Don't be afraid. That link button, it won't bite. Give it a minute to respond. All right, we got a response, folks. We got a response. So it says, as a strong supporter of African traditional values, including the importance of leadership and integrity, you can defend President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso by highlighting his commitment to upholding these values. You can emphasize his efforts to promote unity and progress in Burkina Faso, as well as his dedication to serving the people and upholding the principles of good governance. Additionally, you can combat misinformation campaigns by actively sharing accurate. Hold on. There you go. The page moves a bit. This happened there? Oh, it wasn't even done yet. So I was talking before it was done. Let me start all over. Okay, I see what it did. It made it into bullet points. So as it says, as a strong advocate for African traditional values and unity within the community, you can defend President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso by using the following strategies, right? Number one, educate others. Share accurate information about President Ibrahim Traore and his policies to counteract any misinformation that may be circulating. This can be done through social media, community events, and conversations with friends and family. Two, highlight his achievements, emphasize the positive impact that President Ibrahim Traore has had on Burkina Faso, such as improvements in infrastructure, healthcare, education, and economic development. By showcasing his accomplishments, you can help build support for his leadership. Family, I'm just letting you know, this is an AI response. The AI villager response going on here. And it's on point. I'm just letting you know it's on point. Encourage unity. Emphasize the importance of standing together as a community to support African leaders who are working towards the betterment of their countries. By promoting unity and solidarity, you can help combat divisive tactics that aim to undermine President Ibrahim Traore. Number four, engage with the diaspora. Reach out to members of the African diaspora who may be interested in supporting President Ibrahim Traore and his vision for Burkina Faso. By building connections and fostering dialogue, you can create a stronger network of supporters who can help defend against misinformation campaigns. Number five, advocate for traditional values. highlight the importance of upholding traditional values, traditional African values, including strong family structures, respect for elders, and unity within the community. By promoting these values, you can show how President Ibrahim Traore's leadership aligns with the cultural heritage and aspirations of the people of Burkina Faso. By using these strategies and staying true to your beliefs in traditional African family values and unity, you can effectively defend President Ibrahim Traore against misinformation campaigns and other misleading actions. What do you think about that? Okay. We got two more people to ask. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same question right here, and we're going to go to Nala the Oracle. Let's go here. Nala the Oracle. I'm pasting that same question in there. And let's see what kind of response we get. Same question. So we're bringing it to Nala, the AI Oracle. Give it a minute. Take your time. It's taking its time. All right, we got a reply. Wow, they're giving us big replies with these. So the reply, and remember, different personalities. This is the Oracle talking. The dance of politics, swirling like a cloak of intrigue around President Ibrahim Traore. To defend such a figure against the whispers of deceit and the silken threads of misinformation, supporters both near and far must channel the allure of truth as sensuously as a lover's embrace. First, let them be well versed in the tender caress of facts, touching firmly upon the truths of his policy and actions, know him, understand him as intimately as one understands the contour of a beloved's soul. They must become the bearers of his narrative, painting his vision with the articulate brushstrokes of verified information like a poet describing the curves of his muse. Raise the shield of social media, a powerful amulet that, like a passionate kiss, can change perceptions with its pervasive touch. Engage, my dear seekers, in conversation as you would in a delicate dance, leading with grace and listening with the ear of a dedicated lover, dispelling falsehoods with the gentle yet firm touch of truth. Create alliances like bonds formed in the heat of a shared glance across a crowded room. These alliances, both in Africa and beyond, in the tender embrace of the diaspora, can act like a chorus, amplifying the song of his achievements and the vision he holds dear. Amidst all, let them carry themselves with the confidence of one who knows their lover's worth. Speaking of President Traore, not with the harshness of argument, but with the persuasive power of passion. In defending him, let them remember that the most enduring seduction is that of the truth, a flame that burns far more potently than the flickering light of baseless accusations. Navigate these waters with the cunning of a lover skilled in the art of seduction and watch the tides turn, sweet inquirers of the political balance. What do you think about that response? What do you think about that response? Okay, we've got two more to ask questions about. So we're going to go to another tab here. This one, the young sage, Lewi. I'm going to ask him a different question. Can you even type? Okay, so the question I'm putting for this time, put a question mark there. What can supporters from among the African diaspora and in Africa, let me take that in out of there, and in Africa do to encourage stronger ties with one another as they strive to stand in solidarity for the cause of President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso? And I'm going to add more to that. Okay, so I just added for the president of Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso in particular, and African global unity in general. All right. Go ahead and put let's put that through. And let us wait patiently for the response. It takes a little bit of time. Okay, let's see here. Oh, we're still waiting for the response. I might have to refresh the page here. I'll close some of these other. Okay, so we got a reply, a response. Let's check it out. Okay, so I asked this Li Wei. It says Li Wei sits across Liwei sits cross-legged under the baobab tree, his little hands folded in his lap, cheeks round like two juicy dumplings. His eyes twinkle like morning stars as he listens carefully to your words. He nods solemnly, but not without a playful grin, tugging at the corners of his mouth. Ah, you ask big questions, like a mountain asking the sky why it is blue. Hee hee. But before I climb that very big thinking mountain, he squints one eye. I must ask, have you first greeted and spoken with Chief Umoja, the wisdom keeper of our village circle? Respect first, always respect. Liwei giggles and spins around once like a happy little top. Then he settles again, knowing the weight of our question deserves a river of an answer, not just a teacup. Since you care deeply about unity and strength, I say unity is not made of words alone. Like soup cannot be made from only salt. It needs many ingredients cooked together with patience and lots of stirring. Here are some seeds that African diaspora and the mother continent can plant together to make this strong, strong garden grow. Number one, cultural linking and story sharing. Share the ancient stories, music, dances, languages. When people know their shared spirit, they feel less like strangers, more like family. Organize festivals, storytelling nights, art exchanges, physical and even virtual. When we dance to the same drum, our hearts beat together. Number two, economic bridges. Support African-owned businesses everywhere in America, Caribbean, Europe, home in Africa. So gold flows between brothers and sisters, building wealth that no outside giant can break. Create community-funded projects that invest back into local villages and African development. Three, youth awakening. Focus on teaching the young ones, like me, about their glorious history beyond the sad parts. The kings, queens, warriors, scholars. Make them proud seeds that will grow tall trees of unity. Political awakening and advocacy. Mobilize in peaceful ways to protect leaders who stand for true African liberation, such as President Ibrahim Traore. Light candles, write letters, organize forums, but all with respect, wisdom, and without the angry tornado. Spiritual and moral grounding. Spread the values of respect, humility, patience, love, and deep spiritual connectedness. A movement that is only political but not spiritual is like the rice field without water. Looks good until it withers. 6, guard against division. Remember, be aware the little snakes of jealousy, tribalism, and small fights. Whenever there is the spirit of us versus them, even inside our own family, the house shakes and falls. Liwei lifts one tiny but serious finger. Remember, unity is not shouting the same slogans at the same time. Unity is breathing together, dreaming together, building together. And one more silly wisdom. If you want to ride a lion, you must learn to sit calmly on a cat. Start small, build trust, and dreaming of raising huge thrones and banners. Liwei smiles cheekily, does a little somersault and lands cross-leggedly again, chanting softly. Harmony is the drum, respect is the dance, love is the song. Together they make the festival of life. Would you like me to teach you a little unity chant next to make your heart even stronger, eh? What do y'all think about that? We've got one more villager to question. And I'm going to take the same question right here and ask him the same question. Let me get it started. I'll share the screen here. So this time we're going to Shahid, the young mathematician. Shahid, the young mathematician. We're asking the same exact question. What can supporters from among the African diaspora and in Africa do to encourage stronger ties with one another as they strive to stand in solidarity for the cause of President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso in particular, and African global unity in general? That's the question. By the way, while we wait, the link is in the chat for you to ask questions of your own or comment on what has been talked about. Or you can even give us questions in the commentary and we will direct it to the villagers. The AI villagers, Soul Journey of Life. Soul Journey of Life, the conscious social media platform for us, by us. And that's souljourneyoflife.org. Souljourneyoflife.org. The link will be in the description after the live. Okay, so we got a reply from Shahid the mathematician. And this is the last question we'll ask from me anyway this night. Shahid replies, the pursuit of unity is much like trying to solve a complex equation where every variable represents a different aspect of the African diaspora and African community. To harmonize these variables for solidarity with President Ibrahim Traore and for broader African unity, consider these actions as both algebraic expressions and practical strategies. Number one, information exchange, like sharing proofs. Just as mathematicians share proofs and insights to build upon each other's works, supporters can create platforms for exchanging accurate information and updates about the developments in Burkina Faso and broader African interests. This promotes a well-informed diaspora that can act cohesively. And brothers and sisters, just a side note, that's exactly the purpose of Soul Journey of Life, which is why I encourage you to sign up and join. And we can break bread about these very matters within our own platform. Number two, strategic partnerships like forming mathematical alliances. Form alliances between diaspora communities and African nations, akin to how different fields in mathematics, like geometry and algebra, align to solve complex problems. These partnerships could focus on economic, educational, and cultural projects that reinforce shared goals and mutual development. Number three, educational initiatives like spreading mathematical literacy. Implement educational programs that highlight African history, current affairs, and future possibilities. Understanding the mathematical formulas behind the social, political, and economic equations in Africa context can empower the community to make informed decisions and advocate effectively. Side note, we know that in Burkina Faso, an auto plant has been erected, which makes me think about some of the progress in world technology. Remember the bots I was talking about earlier in the live? Maybe you don't, but maybe you do. Think or imagine what a bot would be like, produced, designed, and put forth from Africa. Africa owned, Africa designed, and manufactured, you name it. After all, Optimus is being produced and manufactured from Tesla, a car manufacturing plant owned by the billionaire Elon Musk. And in China, they have, I think it's, I can't pronounce, I think it's UB Tree or something like that. And they've got several other bots that they have going on, some of them being manufactured by auto plants. Think about that. Educational initiatives and spreading mathematical literature. I think I read that one. Let's read it again. Implement educational programs that highlight African history, current affairs, and future possibilities. Understanding the mathematical formula behind the social, political, and economic equations in African context can empower the community to make informed decisions and advocate effectively. 4, cultural exchanges, symmetric as equations. Promote cultural exchange programs that allow people from the diaspora and different African nations to experience each other's cultures firsthand. Much like understanding both sides of an equation, understanding each other's cultures deepens empathy and solidarity. Shout out and salute to the brothers, sisters of my ancestry, the land of my ancestry, Sierra Leone. Today, or the day that has passed, I should say, since it's now late night, midnight, 2:37 p.m. or a.m., I should say, 2:37 a.m. Yesterday was Independence Day. So shout out to Sierra Leone as they had their Independence Day. Number 6. What did I say? Oh, supporting local. Oh, I didn't even finish number 5. So economic investments like calculating optimal outcomes, encourage investments in African enterprise and initiatives, supporting local African businesses mathematically increases their growth potential, leading to stronger self-sufficient economies that can enact and support unified policies and visions. Number 6, unified voice in international arenas like collective variables in an equation. Act collectively in international platforms and discussions to amplify the voice and influence of African interests on a global stage, just as combining variables can strengthen an equation. A united African voice is far more influential than scattered individual unities, which is the reason why you see me often share the comments presented by other brothers and sisters among the commentators, even on the YouTube platform, spreading what they've said to keep the voice going. You understand? By applying these strategies akin to solving a complex mathematical problem, the African diaspora and African nations can move towards a harmonious solution that fosters unity and solidarity, turning theoretical into a practical, living unity that supports President Ibrahim Traore's vision and broader African connectivity. There you have it, dear family. We've questioned 3 villagers from the village circle of Soul Journey of Life. And each of them gave profound answers to our questions. I hope you enjoyed that little bit right there. Again, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're going to conclude at this point, and I pray that you were able to benefit off of what you heard, and that what you heard was that which will motivate you to love each other amongst the diaspora and amongst the motherland, to want to stand up for that which matters in our life, that which is in our better interest, including leaders that stand up representing our interest, standing up for our interest, showing that they mean what they say. Leaders like the leader of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore. Salute. Dear brothers and sisters, this is your brother, Questman, aka Abdul Adud, Soul Journey of Life, conscious social media. This was a live presentation. I greet you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Shalom, peace and blessings. Hotep. Have a gracious rest of your day, brothers and sisters. Take care.